Okay, today we're going to take a look at 3 must-know drop D riffs and the lessons that I learned from them. Let's start with some Alice in Chains. So before we start taking a look at these drop D riffs, let's talk about getting into drop D. The easiest way to do it is just play the open E and the open D at the same time. And drop that low E down until you stop hearing that warble. An easier way for me is to play the 12th fret harmonic on the low E and the open D. And it's easier for me to hear when that's actually in tune. Of course, if you got a tuner, use the tuner. Let's start with some Alice in Chains. Now when I learned them bones, that's how I learned it, just playing the 5th chords. But if you listen, there's an extra chord happening at the very beginning. And I've seen it transcribed like this. And like this. I believe I've seen video of Cantrell playing it the second way. But what I learned from learning that riff the simple way and then learning the eccentricities of having that other chord higher is keeping the droning low D and then playing something underneath it like these. Those were inversions of D minor. So the second song which we're going to look today is actually in drop C, but we'll play it in drop D. Mechanically it'll be the same. So what I love about this, there's so much to love about this, but it's clearly a beautiful melody, but I love that it's been unwrapped onto a single string that really stretches all the way from the open string to the 17th fret. So that taught me a lot about the tonal qualities of playing a melody on the same string. Something like, if I was to play that on a single string, has a little bit different of a feeling, but I think it feels more tied together as a single thing. And learning it like on a single string might force me to try different techniques while I'm actually putting the melody together. The other thing that it did is it uses the same droning concept about which I talked with them bones, but here the drones are on the low strings, not the high strings. Most people would play keep the low strings droning and play the high notes for the melody, or even. Which is great, but has a completely different character, and I'm sure it's not about what the guys in System were thinking when they put that together. I also love how it starts on the 3rd, but ends on the root note. It resolves to the D, so that you know you have a very complete feeling that the riff is over, the song is over when it gets to that part, or that section of the song. Going against that grain, you know this one. Now, the chorus for Outshined is great on so many levels. First of all, it's just a stomper 4/4 riff that comes after a bridge, that comes after a 7/4 verse. So it gives, by virtue of that rhythmically, it gives a really great, in a songwriting sense, like a sense of release. But it keeps a lot of that tension by neither starting nor ending on the root. Starts on the flat 5th and ends on a C, the dominant 7th. Which is really great because it's using kind of the basic chords that most people would use, putting together a drop D riff. So see how like bringing it up to the D at the end there lets you know that it's over, but they don't do that in this particular song in Soundgarden. They want that tension to kind of still exist all the way through the song.